Welcome back to the 12 Days of Star Signs. I'm Ilona Pamplona, the Postmodern Oracle. And as you've already been learning in this free training, all about understanding the zodiac signs, you're learning how to interpret how the signs get their characteristics, and you're learning how each sign impacts you, even if they're not part of your big three, which is the sun, moon, rising, if you're not familiar with that term. So as a reminder, this is the board game of life that you specifically were given. Everyone gets their own. The planets and the placements are going to be in all different places, but it's going to look like this. The outer layer of glyphs are the signs. We have all of them in us. The second layer are the planets. They wear the outfits of the sign they're in, and they play out in the house that they are placed in. Today, we are on day 4. We are representing and talking all about the sign of Cancer. So the mythology behind Cancer is the legend of Crios, a large sea crab. And basically, he's friends with Poseidon or Neptune, and he was a protector of all the sea creatures. He was kind of like the bodyguard for the sea. And a big squid came and kind of challenged him, took some of the sea creatures. Crios wasn't having it, totally standing up to his job, and took care of the squid, but he himself was hurt terribly. And so to thank him, Poseidon placed him as a constellation in the sky. So when we look at the glyph or the symbolism, the image that represents Cancer, it looks like, to some people, it looks like the number 69, but what it represents are the crab and its claws. For some people, they also think that it's the woman's bosom, because often Cancer is associated with the archetype of the mother. But ultimately, Cancer represents the strength of vulnerability, because in order to fight off the crab, the squid, it had to be put himself in a vulnerable position, and it represented care. So when we dig deeper, we have the element of water and the cardinal quality, which we've seen before with Aries. So with water, we lead with emotion, empathy, intuition. There's a lot of emotional experiences, internal knowings rather than conscious knowings. And with cardinals, we're beginnings and just starting things off. So when we deconstruct the representation of Cancer, we can see that it represents obviously nurturing, because like a caring mother, Crios made sure that the sea family was taken care of. It's all about nurturing and taking care of the tribe, the collective, the family. It's intuitive, because the emotional and empathetic landscape of a water sign gives it that connection to trust its intuition, and like the cardinal energy, just to go and do what it needs to do. It initiates action. But it's also always for Cancer about vulnerability. Often we talk about Cancers being very emotional, but it's the vulnerability. They give us a permission to be vulnerable. And, if Crios wasn't vulnerable enough to put himself in a dangerous position, the others wouldn't have been taken care of. So vulnerability often is that opportunity to put ourselves out there, even if we can get hurt, because it is what exactly needs to be done. So when we're saying, how does this impact me, even if it's not part of my big three, Ilona? Well, we go back to the chart. We go around the ring on the outer glyph until we find the symbolism of Cancer. So Cancer is this crab representation. I don't have any planets in Cancer, but Cancer is the house ruler for the 8th house for me, which basically reminds me that 8th house is all about rebirth. So, part of my life means I get to nurture rebirth. I get to, maybe start things over or let chapters end intuitively. It also is a very big part of my 7th house. So there might be in the house of marriage and partnership. So I might find that, nurturing partnerships are really important for me. And these are how we begin to have these interpretations, especially if you have planets there. Now, if you have any empty houses, don't worry. When you're looking, if I had Cancer fully in one house with no planets, it just means I cleared this in a past life, and it's not something we came here to maybe focus on in this lifetime. If you are curious about learning more about the glyphs, more about the whole system, I do have an astrology decoder formula that I can share with you. Feel free to email me, ilona@ilonapamplona.com, and I'll send you that information, get you on the mailing list so that you can deepen your knowledge of astrology. I can't wait to share part 5 with Leo for you tomorrow.